home in a
Go
ball.
home. Go home. Welcome to the Incoherent Fangirl.
Where we are very ready to invite certain people to a deserted island for
Just
reasons.
reasons.
Just
Just
reasons.
reasons.
Just
Not a big
reasons.
deal. It's a wedding retreat.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm Mandy of Wolf Harbor Island.
And I'm Karin from Halcyon Hall. I wanted to see how quickly you would react to that.
Place.
It took you a second. It took you a
It
second.
did. I was like, oh, wait. That can't be real. I was thinking, is it the name of the manor and you're fatally invited? Oh my God, that is so exciting. I love you.
Okay, friends, in our timeline, it is February 6th, and in y'all's timeline, it's Valentine's Day, February
Happy
14th.
Valentine's
Happy
Day.
Valentine's Day. Happy birthday to my baby who is 10. I don't like it. I feel like that's a lie.
That feels like fake news.
It really does. I don't understand. But we're
Ugh.
moving on quickly because I don't want to cry.
I was about to say I can make you cry again because
Nope,
my
nope, nope, nope,
nieces
nope,
will
nope,
be
nope,
driving
nope,
next
nope,
week
nope,
for
nope,
you guys.
nope,
I
nope,
like
nope.
it.
Hate it. No, thank
Hate it,
you.
hate it, hate it.
Hate it.
If you're in Georgia, stay off the roads. After like the 19th or the 20th, you don't
Just
need to
don't do it.
drive.
Just don't do
Drive during the school day
it.
when children are supposed to be at school. You can drive then.
This week in fangirling, what'd you do?
So I didn't do a lot. Everything has just been everything.
Fair.
The world is what the world is. So I've been in a state of executive dysfunction this week where I have done very little but doom scroll and lay in my bed and watch old episodes of Vanderpump Rules. So I'm just like, y'all have a lot of drama and I need to focus on something mindless.
Yeah.
But I did start working out because I was like, I am so desperate for some improvement to my mental health that I will try the endorphins from working out. So I've been doing like walking on the treadmill and trying to do some strength training because I desperately need the endorphins. Because as we all know, I live in America. You live
Yeah.
in America. We live in America.
The
Enough said.
apocalypse is here. Yeah.
So I will report back on if it helps. Ugh,
Oh,
I
man.
know I hurt. My legs hurt. Right here hurts. I want to die, but
Yeah.
I enjoy it. It has allowed me to finish When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker.
Nice.
So I was listening to it. As I said last week, is an assassin for the rebellion. She goes after like rapists and child murderers and abusers, all around assholes. Then her friend is killed, and she's determined to go after this legendary bounty hunter to get him back. But she's captured, imprisoned by the Guild of Nobles, who intend to execute her and make her like a political figure until Con Vagor shows up. Anyway, Con has my jaw consistently on the floor because the way the man speaks. Like I could not contain myself. I could not stop myself from just rapid fire texting Karin quotes like, "Oh
Yep.
my God, he just said this."
Yep.
There's one part, I mean, it's an enemies to lovers. We all know where it's going, but someone says, "I hate you." No, you don't, Moonbeam. You love me. You're just too busy feasting on my heart to notice. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Excuse me? Excuse me?
Oh, man.
And then so I got it as a Libro ALC, but it's out now. I'm listening to Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. I guess because it came out like 2 days into the month, 3 days into the month.
Yeah.
So you have Scarlett Vandermeer or Vandy, who is a Stanford student and athlete. She's a platform diver, and she had a very nearly career-ending injury, but she's recovering. So far, nothing graphic. One person has like injured their ankle, but it was like I was able to keep listening. It wasn't like a bad thing. I mean, it was bad, but not super graphic. Then we have Lucas Blum. Ooh, I've choked on his name. Blumquist. It's QV. There's a QV in there. Lucas Blomqvist is a world championship winning swimmer. That's a mouthful. And also a Stanford student. So they have nothing in common other than like water. until they're at a party and Vandy's friend, who is also Lucas's ex, is like, she drunkenly blurts out that they both have some of the same interests in the bedroom. And so, yeah. And so she's like, girl, that's your ex and we're friends. Like, I don't
Girl
want to go
code.
there. And
Yeah.
she's like, no, like, I want him to be happy. I'm just not into the stuff he's into. And like, I want to go, like, do what I want to do. So Vandy does try to fight it because obviously she does because it's an Allie Hazelwood book.
Right.
But they end up in close proximity in a study at school featuring Adam and Olive from The Love
Oh,
Hypothesis. And it's an Allie Hazelwood book. So you can imagine where it's going.
right.
Yeah. So I'm enjoying listening to that. It has helped, especially when I'm working out, to take my mind off of.
The state of
She
the world.
gestured vaguely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I've started You Are Fatally Invited by Andy Pliego. I hope I'm saying that right. We'll find out soon, but more on this later. And that
Yes.
has been my week because, again, doom scrolling and Vanderpump Rules just to
I
feel something.
I see we react to things completely differently because I have a list of things for this
I
week. 'Cause
wish I could be that way.
I
I
well,
wish.
the other thing is too, I am back in the office 4 days a week, so I
Yeah.
have now had an extra day of the week where I am listening to audiobooks. So yeah, that's fun. I'm not mad about it at all or anything. No big deal. It's fine. I'm fine. Everything's fine. I don't want to break things.
You can't work at home.
No,
Doesn't matter
apparently.
that you've done it for 5 years.
No, not at
Now,
all. It's, yeah, no.
now your job isn't getting done at home.
Right.
You need to be in the office.
Yeah,
We're
no.
millennials. You know
Let
how
me
we feel
let me
about
let
this.
me tell you how much my productivity has dropped since I have had to return to office. Let me tell you, because no, for real, it really has. You know
Yeah,
why? Because I
no, I'm
don't
not
give a
surprised.
fuck.
Yeah.
You don't, yeah, sorry. I'm gonna stop ranting.
I always say like people who have never worked from home have that mentality, but it's like, oh, you must not have coworkers.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I love my coworkers, they're great, but like if 10 people stop at your desk for 5, 6 minutes each, that's a whole hour
Mm-hmm.
of
Mm-hmm.
productivity gone.
Yeah.
My
I
dogs don't interrupt me that much.
I need to. I'm still mad. I'm gonna die mad. Anyways, I'm
Tell
gonna
me
talk
what you
about
did
happy
this
things.
week.
I read You Are Fatally Invited by Andy Pliego, which we'll talk about shortly. But I this book has me in a chokehold, and I can't stop thinking about it. I
I'm
can't wait
getting
for
into the chokehold. Yeah.
I cannot wait for the audiobook to come out on Tuesday because it's a
Yeah.
full cast. Oh, I'm
Okay. I may pause where I am since it's that close. Like, obviously, I should have known the audiobook was coming out, but with a full cast,
it's a full oh,
I may have to pause.
it's so I can't. I'm like immediately need to listen to it. Like I cannot stop
Yeah.
thinking about this book.
I've got to
Anyways,
remember this when we log off to pre-order or do whatever
yeah.
to get the audiobook.
Anyways, sorry. I'm very obsessed with this book and I can't wait to talk about it.
Don't apologize.
Okay, The Fall Risk by Abby Jimenez, which officially comes out on March 1st, but it was an Amazon Prime first reads choice. It was the bonus short story, so I got it early. We've got two neighbors who are strangers get trapped on their floor in their like building when a miscommunication has their stairs removed. They are on the second floor of their building and the stairs to their landing get removed.
I'm sorry, where's the elevator? Where's the ADA?
Right. Nonsense. Yeah. Anyways, we've got Seth, whose divorce has
Ouch.
just been finalized, and Charlotte, who has just moved in, and it's her fifth move in 2 years due to
Oh,
a very creepy AF stalker who basically got a slap on the wrist because they couldn't prove
of
it was
course.
him, of course.
America. Here we are
So
again.
the book starts off on Friday, so the stairs are removed on Friday, and the crew can't come back until Monday. So the building manager is like, "Oh my gosh, you guys, we'll put you up in a hotel. Like you'll get a ladder, you'll come down, whatever. We'll put you up in a hotel." And both of them are like, "No." Charlotte, because she is living in fear, obviously, because she's got this creepy stalker, and so she actually feels safer because
Hmm.
nobody can reach her now. And Seth
Yeah.
is like, all my stuff is here. I have a fish. Like, he just doesn't want to leave.
I'm so brain dead that at first, I don't know why I thought this, but I was picturing they were at work.
No.
I was like, Jesus Christ, imagine being stuck
No.
there
Good God. Good God, no. So they have a part,
at
it's like
home. Yeah.
they're at home. They're in like, I think it's probably something similar to like a fourplex kind of situation. So
Oh,
like
yeah.
yeah. So because they're the only two on their floor and they're just right opposite each other. Okay. And so they decide they're going to spend the weekend just hanging out on their floor at home. Not, they don't have anywhere they need to be or anything. And the building manager, who is a character from like a different Abby Jimenez short story, which I thought was really cute, but he's like, "Are you guys sure?" And they're like, "Yeah, no, we're fine." So he just brings them a ladder and like a bucket with rope for them to, like, if they need supplies, to go up and down. And so they're like, "We're just gonna hang out at home." They spend the whole weekend hanging out and turn the little like breezeway between their apartments into their own little like oasis. And of course, feelings develop because, hello, forced proximity, like the most
Yeah.
forced of forced proximity. It is the cutest little rom-com novella with all of the kind of seriousness that Abby Jimenez infuses into all of her romances, which honestly makes her one of the best in my opinion, because like, yeah, you want a fluffy rom-com, but addressing like issues like a stalker, uh
Yeah.
like heavy issues like that while still making you laugh, perfection.
Perfect.
Content warnings for a deranged stalker, obviously.
Hmm.
Mentions of suicide, but no attempts. Kissing cousins, which I am still laughing at because it is so hilariously done in this book. What?
Kissing cousins. I don't know where I thought you were going, but kissing cousins wasn't it.
I know, right? I
I,
was not expecting that either, and I was like, oh my God. Hilarious. Truly
I was thinking
hilarious.
like broken leg because somebody falls over the
No,
stairs or
no.
something.
No bones are broken. No bones of the main characters are broken in this story. And also, the last content warning would just be like general being a womanness.
Yeah.
The dedication, I might be paraphrasing because I don't think I wrote this down directly, but the dedication basically says, for all the women who would choose the bear and the men who work to understand why. And this is the story.
Stop.
Yes. Yes. It
Love.
yes. So that is, yeah. It's, and the ending, thank you,
This
Abby.
was just a short story?
It was just a short story. It's like a
Ugh.
80 something page novella, and it's truly just excellent. Like, how do you infuse so much in just like 82 pages or something? Like,
Man.
she's magic.
Yeah.
So, The Fall Risk by Abby Jimenez. Next, I read A Monsoon Rising by Taya Guanzon, which is book 2 of the Hurricane Wars series. So obviously I can't say much. Let's just say that the enemies to lovers continues to play out in this one, and the cliffhanger of this one is agonizing, and I am wrecked that I need to wait for the next book. Like, I enjoyed the first book, but I loved this one. Sophomore slump who? Like, oh,
Yeah.
killer. Next, I have Pretties and Specials by Scott Westerfeld, which is books 2 and 3 of the Ugly series. So obviously they're sequels. So again, not much to say about the actual plot of the books. But I don't think I talked about this. I think I read this after like we went on break, so I can kind of explain the world a little bit for
Is this
anybody.
your first time reading it?
This is my first
I
time
couldn't
reading it.
remember.
Yes,
Okay,
you asked me
yeah.
that when I when I
I couldn't
started.
remember.
Yeah.
I know I had, but I couldn't remember.
Yeah, it's my first time reading it. And so, okay. So in this world, they have technology to make people pretty, at least according to what is like most biologically appealing. People grow up ugly, and at age 16 they get an operation to become pretty. The series follows Tally Youngblood, who has always wanted to be pretty. Her best friend, who is I think just like a few weeks older than her, has already had the operation, become a pretty, and has moved to New Pretty Town. Tally sneaks over to see him, only to find out that since he's become pretty, he's not the same boy she knew. She then meets another ugly girl named Shay, who has the same birthday as her, and they become fast friends.
Shayla.
Shay confides in Tally that she doesn't want to get the operation and is going to run away, encouraging Tally to come with her. Tally doesn't, but Shay still leaves. And only when Tally is picked up by Special Circumstances, which is a group of special pretties that are called to take care of, as you may guess, special circumstances. So Tally is sent off to find Shay and bring her back, only to find a world outside that she never knew existed, and
Mhm.
everything she thought she knew is changed forever. And so that's kind of the overarching story. Pretties and Specials kind of goes into more after that. And I mean, I guess you could kind of read them as standalones because it like the storylines don't necessarily, I mean,
Right. Yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah.
obviously it'd be best if you read them in order altogether. Okay, this was the week of like sequels for me because the next thing I read was The Whispering Night by Susan Dennard, book 3 in the Luminary series. Obviously, I can't say anything, but oh my god, did Suze really have to go that hard?
Right.
I
I
am
almost hit the ground in my kitchen.
I am still unwell, even after getting to the end of it and having the thing that made me unwell become resolved.
Yeah.
It was so funny because I like texted you and I was like, if anybody comes up and asks me to do any work right, because I was at work, if anybody comes up and asks me to do any work right now, I will break down sobbing. And immediately
Yeah.
after I hit send, somebody
No.
walked up and she like peeked and I looked at her and I was like, absolutely not. And she's like, I'm not giving you work. I'm like, okay, because I literally just said if somebody was
Yeah.
gonna give me work, I would start bawling. But it
Yeah.
was the timing. Like literally I hit send, I looked up
Ugh.
and she's standing outside my cubicle and I was like, absolutely not. Oh my god.
I
But
hate that.
yeah, she was like, I'm not giving you work, I promise. At
Yeah.
least not
I just
right
want to say
now.
hi.
And then the last thing I finished this week was The Throne of Fire by Rick Riordan, which is book 2 of the Kane Chronicles series, which continues to follow Carter and Sadie Kane as they embark on a worldwide search for the Book of Ra in order to bring back the Sun God, all while the House of Life and Gods of Chaos do their damnedest to keep them from completing their mission. I wrote all of that down, so I just read it because I was like, if I deviate from this, I'm going to start talking about the plot, and I don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is like the Egyptian gods series of
I
his.
love it.
It's
I love it.
yeah, I
Everything he
love it
touches
truly,
is just
truly.
golden to me.
So that was what I finished this week. I am like 18% away from finishing one more thing, and I will talk about that next week. But I'm so close, and the fact that I
I
have
am
to record right
scared.
now is
I'm
rude.
scared you're going to be mad at me because there's something coming for you.
I'm already mad at you. I'm already mad at you, but I also have met the new love of my life, so it's fine.
I'm obsessed with this man. I'm obsessed with him.
The way the it's I'm having a good time. Anyways, that was my week.
I'm glad. If anybody's wondering, she's reading my book.
Yeah,
We
what she said.
can talk about it later. Wait, I have one more thing I did. And I
What?
gotta talk a little shit, actually.
Okay, do it.
Last night, my husband is like, we haven't watched Moana 2. And I was like, okay, we can watch Moana 2. Thumbs down.
Oh
The music
no.
was boring because we didn't involve Lin-Manuel Miranda, which
Which is a crime.
why?
Why wouldn't you?
That's a crime in the
After
state of the world today.
well, and especially after so much success with the first one.
Right. Like I still listen to the first
Mm-hmm.
Moana soundtrack like
Right.
regularly.
Right.
Why would you like cut him out? Music was boring. The CGI was pretty terrible.
Oh
Like
no.
her hair looked like, do you remember like those old or Barbie cartoons in like the 90s where the hair just stays and it's like
Mm-hmm.
a block?
Oh
That's kind of what it looks
no.
like. It's just her hair. Like Josh is like, it just seems really low budget. I fell asleep like 20 minutes in because it was that
That's
bad.
wild. I'm so glad
Yeah.
I didn't pay to see that in theaters.
Don't pay. I mean, if you want to watch it eventually, just to say you did, but
Yeah.
I was not impressed. Okay,
Okay.
that was my week. Forgot about that.
Fair.
Do you have a fictional boyfriend this week?
I picked Seth Gonzalez from The Fall Risk. This man is like, he picks up on her moods so quick. Like, he. So obviously she has Charlotte has a stalker, right? So she is very wary of all men just in
Yeah.
general, as she should be. Even if she didn't have a stalker, as she should be. And so she's like, I am trapped. trapped with this man, trapped and terrified, and is like, I don't know what to do. And so but he had made a comment about how he was like, oh, now I can't go get coffee because they have no stairs, so he can't leave to
Yeah.
go get coffee. And so after they've separated and gone back into their own apartments, she like has like canned coffee or bottled coffee, and she's like, okay, I'm gonna be brave and I'm gonna go over and offer him some. And so she does just that. She goes over, she knocks, she offers some coffee, and he's like, oh, and he like opens the door and gestures for her to come in, like, oh, like, let's have coffee. And she freezes, obviously. And he
Yeah.
picks up on it instantly, and he's like, how
Oh.
about I have some beach chairs, we can bring them out, and that's how they start their little like hanging out. And he
Oh,
like
I love it.
and there are so many moments like that. It's not even big moments, it's just little things that he just picks up, that he's just like able to be like, oh, she's uncomfortable, let me fix this, or let me redirect us, or whatever, like just tiny
Yeah.
things. And we need more people like that, not just men, but more people like that, who are able to just
Yeah.
pick up on the vibes and be like, hold on, let me fix that. So Seth is my fictional boyfriend
I
of the week.
love that.
How about you?
So it's very funny that you say that about like a not irrational at all, not irrational at all, but like a fear of men, or like a freezing
Mm-hmm,
around men,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
because Vandy from Deep End. I wanted to say Off the Deep End, but I know it's not that. Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. She has, I haven't gotten to what it is yet, but she has like a something with her dad to where she freezes around men, and
Mm.
Lucas instantly notices, and he says, for some reason you seem comfortable with me. And he said, I noticed that you put yourself slightly behind me if there's other men, and you like, I can see that you trust me, and I like don't ever want to take that for granted. And I don't know what happened to you, but like he reaffirms, like, you are safe with me, all of that. And I'm just like,
Aw.
and then again, Convagor this week too, because the mouth on that man, the mouth on that man, I was just flabbergasted, flabbergasted.
Oh
It's
man.
wonderful.
Lovely. Wonderful.
Yep.
That sound means we have an intruder
It's an
alert. We're
intruder.
so excited. This week we have Andy Pliego, debut author of You Are Fatally Invited. So excited to talk about this.
Look at that
Welcome
cover.
to the podcast. So the first thing we usually ask is, can you give us like the elevator pitch of the book for anybody who hasn't heard about it?
Yes, absolutely. So, You Are Fatally Invited is an adult thriller. Sorry, I have to show it off a little bit
It's so
because
pretty.
my
So pretty.
my author copies just came, so I'm
Oh,
like, everybody look.
yes.
But here it is. So, You Are Fatally Invited is an adult thriller that follows a writer's retreat for thriller authors gone horribly wrong, and the revenge-driven event coordinator who realizes that she's not the only one who might be planning a murder on the retreat. So that's the short of it.
Oh, it's so
Oh, I'm
good.
obsessed.
I
Okay.
truly. Oh,
Yeah, Karen's got words.
I like could not. I was like, every time I was reading it, and then I'd have to put it down and be like, I don't want to do anything else. Why? What do you mean I have to have
Oh,
live a life? Like, this is unfair. I have to stop reading. This book has me in a chokehold. I cannot stop thinking about it. As soon as it comes out on Tuesday, I will be downloading the audiobook so I
I
can
know, I'm
listen
excited for the
to the
audiobook.
oh, I'm so excited. I'm not usually like a rereader, but I'm gonna need to revisit it. It's so good.
thank you so much. I do have to jump in and say that the audiobook, I just got my copy of it yesterday,
Mhm.
and I like scrubbed through and like listened to all the narrators, a couple chapters from each of them. They nailed it. It is so worth listening to.
I'm
That is
so
probably the most surreal thing.
Oh yes, whole new experience. So highly, highly, highly recommend. They're fantastic.
Oh,
So
I can't
yeah.
wait.
Oh, I can't wait. Okay, so I think obviously we talk to authors all the time, and so I think
Mhm.
that writing is magic and it takes a lot of skill, but there's just something about like murder mystery thriller genre that just blows my mind with what like the intricacies that have to go into crafting a story like this. So what is that writing process like for you to make sure that all of those little nuggets pull back together into a a gasp, like a,
Into
oh
the
my
end.
god moment?
Well, first it blows my mind too, and I'm still trying to figure out how it all works because it really is like story magic. So I my all of my stories end up being really complicated and like full of tiny moving parts, and they all have to fit in. But getting to that point where they actually all fit together is, it's extremely stressful.
Yeah.
It's I have to start with a really like basic concept, a basic idea of, okay, this plot is, let's say, and then there were none on a writer's retreat. And that's kind of what I started with. And then all of the twists, all the little pieces, the character motivations, their voices, how they all connect, all of that usually comes in draft 2 or 3 or 4. So I'm working in layers of paint, slowly chipping away at
Yeah.
it. And yeah, so it's a bit of a weird process for sure.
Do you like have, I always go back to that like little meme of the guy with the string and
Yeah, I
Oh,
was
that's
gonna say.
me.
yeah, I
That's
was like
me the whole way.
I feel like that's the only way. I mean, I don't write thriller, but I feel like that's the only way to write thrillers. Like how do you keep everything in check otherwise?
Yes, it's very much so. I think I have a couple of friends who seem like they're like, I just plot the story and I write it and it turns out. And like they say, like, like once in a while there'll be something that changes. For me, it's like, I plot the story out chapter by chapter and it's completely different by the time it's on the page.
Yeah.
So it's I as much as I try to plot it and I do still persistently plot, I just know it's kind of like I know that none of this is going to be in the actual book, so it's just the way.
Oh, I love it.
Did you base J.R. Alistair or any of the characters off of any real life authors or scenarios, or is it they all just like made up?
So I definitely drew inspiration from authors and specifically from genres. I guess like the closest, and I can probably just say this, is J.R. Alistair is, I mean, a little bit like Stephen King in my mind when I was thinking of like what's a legendary author that everybody would
Right.
know. And the idea that the story is set in Maine was actually completely separate from like Stephen King. I was chasing the fall leaves and trying to figure out what is the most like spooky, like fall, atmosphere I could do. And then it happened to be Maine was the luxury coast that everyone goes for vacation on islands and also fall
Hey.
leaves. So it worked.
Hey, sold.
Yeah. So I suppose like Stephen King's book on writing has always been really influential for me in my writing journey. And just the way that he's so down to earth and just very conversational, I really, really loved that. So when I was trying to think of what I wanted Alistair to sound like, I was like, well, I want it to be a little bit like he's having a conversation with you and sharing all of these thoughts. And as you're kind of reading it, you're a little bit like, like what are they
Yeah.
thinking behind this?
Yeah.
Which that's not connected to Stephen King, but so that's just kind of how it started out. And then it grew and morphed into his own, psychopathic
Distinct little.
and the way he ended up. So
So everybody has their own kind of POV chapter at some point in the book. What was it like writing in all the different voices? Did you have to like do them in chunks, like each person, like you sat down and you were one person and then you moved to the next person, or were you able to kind of jump back and forth?
That's a really good question. So when I plotted, I tried to. So I had it where it did the switches point of views between Mila, which is the event coordinator, who we follow her throughout the whole book. And then each day of the retreat focuses on a new author. So it's, the day one is Mila and then one of the authors, and then Mila and then one of the authors, and it kind of goes that way. And then day two, it switches. So for doing that, I knew what general plot points needed to be from which perspective, but I definitely tried to write chronologically through it just because it's trying to keep the whole story straight. But when trying to really hone down on each individual character and make sure their voice sounded different and they were fleshed out, like they were not just, just stand-ins for whoever. Right. At that point, I really would take, a big magnifying glass to each character, really sit with, like, who are they? What's motivating them? What is, how would they speak? How would they think? How does that affect their work, etc., all those things. And then I would go through and edit. Like I'd say, okay, right now I'm going to focus on Rodrigo. So then I'd edit most of his chapters so that the the voice of it is the same, and then move on to the next and kind of go that way. So a little bit of both.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's really smart.
Yeah,
So that
because you
you're not
can
like
just
you're not
right.
jumping back. You stay with Rodrigo
Right.
and then you stay with Mila while you're editing. Okay, so I peeped your website and you wrote what I would consider to be like a definitive guide for the writing process and publishing, whether it's, what you could do in self-publishing or traditionally publishing. And as a currently drafting about to start like possibly querying author, it was so helpful. Is that something that you would ever consider like publishing?
That's a really good question. I have not thought about publishing it. I think the tricky thing with publishing something on querying or publishing is that it changes so
That's
fast.
true.
So
Mm-hmm.
that's like I had thought about, oh, like maybe just putting it all in a big PDF and just having it be like people can download it. But then putting it on my website, I can make changes to it and like
Yeah.
add
That's
to it
true.
as things come up. I think for sure if publishing could like hold still for a moment, then I would totally be like, yeah, like absolutely.
Yeah, let me
I want
bind
to share
this.
these things with as many people as possible because people were very kind and generous sharing with me. So yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it was amazing because it was like, okay, this is going to be the end. And then it would be a whole new section with all like such detailed, in-depth information that it was like, this is so insanely helpful.
I'm so happy to hear that. I'm so passionate about helping fledgling writers get into the industry and demystifying it and just learning the ropes. I trial and errored a lot of my way through and had some very kind other authors who were very generous with me, and I want to do the same. So yeah.
I love that.
Awesome.
I don't think you know this, but we actually have something in common, which is we're both Writing with the Soul alumni,
I
and
didn't know that.
yeah,
That's so
and
cool.
you're talking about like you know building up fledgling authors and all of that. Would that kind of program, which for those of you who don't know, was a program run by Adrienne Young, to kind
Mhm.
of help people find their voice and in writing and all of that, and which is now shuttered. But is that something that you would consider like possibly doing, like building a course or something, to help other people? Because yeah, you're right. It is very confusing.
Yes, yes, and yes. I like one of my favorite, I just love talking writing, publishing, industry, all of that. And I've always wanted to teach something, a course or like I don't know, a class or something. So that's very much on my like, oh, like, maybe when I get a couple of books under my belt, people will be like, hey, what does she have to say about writing? So that's very much something I would love to do.
I
So
would like to go on
yeah.
the record right now, y'all. She is somebody to listen to when it comes to writing. I am not
Oh.
kidding. I really cannot stop thinking about this book. It is
Yes, I'm
it
so
is just
happy.
like it's stuck in my brain. I'll be like laying in bed and all of a sudden I'm like, remember that time Mila did that? I'm like, God damn it.
Don't say too much because I haven't completely
I
finished
I know.
yet.
I'm like I'm like I no
And we want our
spoilers.
listeners to read it too, so we're
No
not going to spoil it
spoilers,
too
but
much.
my God, I like literally, and I feel like, and I maybe a lot of readers feel this way. They're like, oh, I can usually like figure out, but what the ending, and I'm like, I have no clue. I'm the
Yes.
whole time, every chapter, I was like, oh, it's gonna be this, and then the next chapter, I'm like, God damn it,
It's not this.
no, it's this, and
It's not
the
this.
whole way through, like magic, literal magic in this book. So
Thank
everyone, please
you.
go read it because I need more Andy books.
Thank you. I appreciate that so much. I worked very hard to fool you all. So to hear that it's
10,
worked
10 out of
makes me very
10. No
happy.
notes, perfection. Like this top of my list. So
Oh,
good.
thank you so much.
So we touched on it a little bit, but what is it like to get your book in an audiobook form? Like, what does that feel like? Like, is that the most insane?
It is. It's a weird experience. I feel like when I first listened to the book, it starts with J.R. Alastor's book, like in his introduction, which is a book within the book of You Are Fatally Invited. So it's like it's the first thing you see is you hear J.R. Alistair's voice, and our narrator is Will Damron, and he is phenomenal. So I actually kind of begged that we could get him to do it because I've listened to him before and I was like, his voice would be perfect. And when I hit play and like heard the first few lines read, I just had like literal chills and just like was like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy. And scrubbing through listening to each of them, just they're so amazing. And it's wild to hear my words like in their mouths, but it sounds like it's a real person. Like
Yeah.
it's not just in my head, which it's been for so long. And so hearing like a whole new set of like inflection and emotion and, accent to it is just it's phenomenal. So yeah, unreal.
That is so
Is
cool.
there a point when you're listening where you forget that you're like, oh, these are my words? Like I wrote
Yes.
that.
Yes, there are times. So I have to brag on our reader for Fletcher is the incredible John Lee, and he's narrated a ton of books, fiction and nonfiction. My husband, who is pretty much a primary nonfiction reader, when I was telling him the names of the narrators, I didn't think he would know any, and he was like, "John Lee, I know him. He narrated Napoleon." And I was like, "Oh, okay, like there we go."
Yeah, hey.
But his rendition of Fletcher, who is our very dry humored British
I love Fletcher so far.
prestigious
This
character.
humor, I love
So
it.
glad. Well, you're gonna love the audiobook then because John Lee knocks it out of the ballpark. He is hysterical. My husband and I, we were listening to like when his first chapter yesterday because I was like, you've got to listen to this. It's so good. And we were dying laughing because he's so dramatic and like perfectly
I
perfectly
love it.
done and the
Oh,
humor's amazing. So
I
yeah.
cannot wait. Cannot wait. Okay,
Oh man.
so I want to keep talking about the book, but we also have questions that we always ask, and I'm
Sure.
like, if we can get that out of the way quickly, we can talk more about the book.
Okay.
So we have a segment on the podcast which we call Fictional Boyfriend of the Week, and it doesn't have to be a boyfriend, but we kind of just pick a character that we really like vibed with that week, and that's my baby for this week. I love Ashton. Ashton would be mine. So we want to know, like, are there any fictional characters that you're just like, everybody needs to meet this character. I love them.
Oh my goodness. Yes, there are. How about Mandy, you go first while my brain thinks of
Oh,
through what I've been
Mandy's.
reading.
Oh, mine is always and forever. Like we picked them from the week, but my like forever answer
Top
is
tier.
Aaron Warner from Shatter Me.
Oh my gosh.
Always.
Yes. Yes.
Always Aaron Warner forever.
Yes. That makes me
We
so
have
happy to hear.
we have matching tattoos. Like it's really official and serious over here.
I love that. That's amazing. Okay. Mine would have to be if I'm thinking from the prior week. So my reading has
It doesn't
paced.
have to be yours
Yeah.
can be of all time. And it
Just
could be
could be
books,
whatever.
movies, TV.
Goodness.
Whatever.
How
This
do
is
I
where everything
choose?
you've ever like watched, read, you're like, what is a
Just
book?
gone.
I don't know if I've
Everything
ever heard of a
flees.
No
book.
words.
Okay.
What's a TV show?
So
Have you
I
ever watched a
adore
movie?
yeah, exactly. I'm so deep in the redrafting cave right now that I'm like, oh yeah, there's other fiction out there.
There's pop
but
culture.
there's pop culture. I absolutely love Darrow from Red Rising. I don't know if you guys have read that trilogy,
No, but
the
it's
initial
on my
trilogy.
list.
I
It's
haven't, and I'm
oh
mad
my
at
gosh.
I almost kind of cussed her out this week about that series.
That's so
Actually,
funny that you bring that up because she
Oh, I'm glad.
literally texted me. She was like, "Hey, you know Pierce Brown, the author of Red Rising?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Did you know he's hot?" And I was like,
I was like,
"Yeah,
have you ever
I
seen
told you
him?
that."
Don't know
I
why. I
literally-
was picturing like an older dude.
I was like, I
That's
looked at my text.
hysterical.
I was like, when I discovered this, I immediately texted that to you.
I
I
forgot.
was not gatekeeping.
That
I
is
forgot.
hysterical.
He came across my TikTok, and I was like, "Oh, well, I didn't know we were doing all this."
That's amazing. Well,
So
the
tell us
book
about
is
Darrow.
so Darrow. So Red Rising sci-fi series, which is kind of YA crossover, takes place over several years, which is really cool. But it's like think of like your Revolution plot, like Hunger Games or any one of those. There's a million. So it's a little bit like that, but with multiple planets. And Darrow is kind of like on the lowest tier. He's in the District 12 of
Okay.
of the planet. We'll say that. He's in the District 12. And there's a very dramatic inciting incident, which I will not spoil. But essentially, he realizes that everything they've been told is a lie, that there's wealth on the other planets, that, et cetera. They're basically being used as slaves. So he's like, well, that's not okay. I'm going to go put a stop to that. So he infiltrates them from the inside and rises up the ranks, becomes like this incredible commander, et cetera, et cetera. But he's so great because, well, A, I'm a sucker for revenge stories, and this is a pretty great one. B, his character runs such a gamut of emotion that I feel like we don't always get to see from male characters. And it's just so visceral and real. And the way that the emotions are written is stunning. And also his friendship with his best friend is like one of the best male friendships that's out there. It's fantastic. But
I love
anyways, it's a great series. Everybody needs to read it, including you two. It's
I know
fabulous.
it's you're bumping it up my list.
Yeah. I'm like, it's there. I'm just like, there's so many books to read.
I know. I feel you.
All right. Well, you kind of have answered this one, but another question we always ask is like, what books you would recommend that people read?
Okay, so I just finished reading, and by just finished, I mean, I don't know, it was a while back. Book of Doors by Gareth Brown, and have you guys heard of it?
I haven't heard of it.
I can picture the cover, but I don't know anything about it.
It is a book for book lovers. So it's a girl. Exactly. It's a girl. Cute dog. My gosh. Sorry.
He was like begging. This is the show dog, George Bailey.
Oh,
he was like over here begging.
George Bailey. That's so cute. Hello. So Book of Doors is about a girl who finds a book that when she holds it and reads from it and walks through a doorway, it takes her to wherever she was thinking. And so the book it's beautiful because it's about the wonder of books and the magic they contain and of new places. And it's a book that just wonders at the world and at story. And also it's about the little bit of underground society of book people who want her book and are willing to do anything to get it. So it's a perfect combination of a little bit of whimsy, but also has some really intense. Yeah, it's a pacey read. It's a yeah. I don't want to spoil it or anything, but the books, there's multiple books. They do different things. Some of them are good books, some are bad books. They're really, really good.
Oh my goodness, that sounds incredible.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Highly recommend.
That's exciting. Okay, so this book, you kind of for each day have a teaser at the beginning of the chapter as to what we can possibly expect in the book or in the next few chapters.
Yes.
Was that something that you did intentionally? You went into the story thinking, I'm gonna do this, or was that something that kind of came after you had finished drafting and you're like, this would be a fun transition kind of thing?
Yeah. So I think that was there from pretty much the beginning. I knew I wanted the framework of the thriller author's writing retreat to be based on the tropes. So, and I was like, well, I wanted to cram as many as possible, but I should probably also pick a few and try to do them well instead of,
yeah,
overwhelming. So each day I had themed after a game that the authors have to play. So for instance, day one is the dinner party trope, which, I mean, if you've read a thriller, you might have read, the story of people are invited to this dinner and they're all strangers and, the host may or may not appear and someone dies, So that's the first trope that the authors encounter. And like you were saying, at the beginning of each day, there's let me see if I can show you because I think it's so pretty in this one. So at the beginning of each day, it's a separate section that says dinner party. And then there's a little explanation for it from the anonymous author's book on writing fear. And he, gives his little teaser for what's to come for the day. So
it's fun.
That's really cool.
I also like how you kind of, I mean, it not necessarily 100% breaks the fourth wall, but there are parts of it where it's wait, you don't usually see second person in books,
Hmm.
so that was
Yeah.
really fun. What was the decision making process there to kind of write
Yeah.
those pieces?
Yeah, absolutely. So, for our event coordinator's perspective, throughout pretty much most of her chapters, there's a hint. I had no idea what it was called until someone, I don't remember, a critique partner was like, "Did you know that this has a name?" And it's not, whatever it was I was calling it, but it's, what is it? I think it's first person direct address. And I was like, I have never heard of that. I don't know
Ooh,
what that is.
I've never heard of that.
Apparently that's what it is, which is
Okay.
cool. But it's where, so the person who's speaking keep saying you and talking to you. So like saying, like in Mila's chapter, it's like you walked down the stairs and you didn't even know who I was,
Right.
kind of thing. And for that, I really went back and forth about it because I know it can be really polarizing. I think a lot of readers have a hard time with that. And it's tricky to do well, I think. So I like, when I started drafting, I was kind of like, oh, this is kind of coming out as a little different than I thought. So that was there from the beginning. And I asked my agent, I was like, hey, do you have any strong feelings on this? And she was great. And she was like, usually I'd say no, but I really like this excerpt. Keep going. So I was like,
Yeah.
It
so
works.
at one point I actually took it out. And then after sitting on it for a while, I was like, it's not the same.
It needs to be there.
It needs to be there. So I left it in now and I feel really good about it because I think it puts you in Mila's head in a way that you couldn't get at
Mhm.
otherwise, or would be much harder to get at otherwise. So
Yeah.
It
yeah.
it builds the tension too, because like, who is she talking to? Like, it's not you is not me. Like, she's talking
Right.
to somebody, but who is it? And
Yes, I
it,
love that.
yeah,
Yeah.
it. I had so many theories, and I was wrong, wrong, wrong,
Yes,
wrong.
I'm so glad.
So many theories. It
She's
was
like, I
like
fooled you.
so. It was, yeah. I think
Love it.
it really elevated the story to have it written that way.
Yeah. It's
So
so like it's a
it,
mystery, but it's so mysterious, even on top
yeah.
of it. You're like, oh,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
wait.
I'm
What's
so
I was
going
glad.
sitting
to
there
you?
at one point. I was like, I think at one point, like they say, like, oh, there's these many place settings, and I literally had to sit there and count. And I'm like, hold on, are we? Is there somebody who's hasn't been introduced? Is there a mysterious other? Like it was so
I
much.
felt I do okay, so I felt bad a little bit for those multiple times when it's like there's counting or like the number of boxes or whatever it is. I felt bad because I was like, I'm sorry, readers. Like I'm not trying to like confuse you or drive you nuts, but like for the story's sake, it has to be written this way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was just
but
like, oh. Okay, we don't want to keep you too long, but we do want to know what comes next.
Yes.
What are
What's
you
yes.
what's the
working on? Tell us.
future?
I know
I
I'm
heard you're
part of your
drafting.
yes, I'm part of your
Mhm.
newsletter, so I know you have Adult Thriller 2
Haha.
coming, and I
Yes.
know that there's two others after that you're
Yeah,
talking. I'm
there's
like,
more
Yes.
on your website. Yeah.
I want details. Whatever you
Oh,
can
thank
provide us.
you. Okay, so for sure, what's coming next year in April 2026 is Adult Thriller 2 from my same UK and US publishers who are fantastic. And this book has been difficult to wrangle. It's definitely the hardest book I've ever written. And a lot of that, there's a lot of different factors for it. But I've had to, again, my chaotic process of like plotting and then all of it going to heck, that's my process now. So I've redrafted it. This is my fifth time, and each time has been basically a complete rewrite. Like
Oh
even like
wow.
themes and characters have changed, and just very dramatic rewrite. And I think with this draft, I definitely feel kind of this live wire of tension that I haven't felt with the others. And I remember that feeling with Fatally when it's like I finally have landed and I'm like, okay, like don't move, nobody move. I know what this is.
Don't blink. Don't
um,
spook me.
exactly. So I'm about halfway through drafting that. It'll come April 2026. And then I have two more adult thrillers that are not sold yet. So if you want to see them, pre-order my book or buy my book, so that publishers will want more from me. But
Yes. I'm about to
those,
hop on and order the UK cover and the special treatment that the UK version of this book has. My
I know
God.
they
The
they
UK
went
is the
all out.
best.
They're amazing.
It's
Yeah.
no pun intended, but it's killer. Like,
Thank you.
oh, I'm obsessed. I'm like, how do you decide? You don't. You just get both.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm like, just do both. Just
Just do both.
just do both.
Oh, that's amazing to hear. No, my UK team really, so I was very much a like, I don't want to ask for too much, but also, like, what about
Yeah.
these extra things? And they were absolutely phenomenal in just hearing all of my wild ideas and turning them into something stunning. So yes,
I love that.
they're great. But yeah,
Oh, I love.
That is
I love.
so exciting.
Okay,
thank
so
you.
this is the part of the interview
Oh
where we do
yeah.
have to give you some bad news. Now that you've been on the podcast, you're actually legally obligated to come back for all future book releases. We're so
Yeah.
very sorry. We
Mm,
don't
You're
make
gonna
the
have to come
rules.
back next year.
It's so sorry.
Dang it.
that is definitely the worst thing I've ever heard. No, that would be amazing. I would absolutely love that.
I
But
don't know how I'm just gonna have to keep rereading this until
Yeah.
April 2026 because I'm sad that it's over.
no.
So,
Well, the audiobook's coming soon and it's
yes.
fantastic.
Yes, everybody, when you're listening to this, the book is out. You are fatally invited. Go pick it
Look
up.
at the cover.
It's so pretty. It's so
Look
pretty.
at it
And if you want the special
with
treatment
the
book, order it
knife.
from the UK. It's so pretty.
My
I
God.
can't. So pick up like 10 copies so that we can get more books from Andy because
Yeah.
I will not survive if we don't get all of them. Keep writing. Never
well,
stop.
I can't stop writing. I've tried and it's not worked out. So like so I'll keep cranking out stuff, especially as
Everybody
long as you guys
go
want
order
them.
the book. Go pick up a copy. Walk into the bookstore, pick up a copy or 10. It makes a good gift.
Yeah.
I need more and I need
For the murder
y'all.
lover in your life.
Yes,
I
I
know.
need
I can't
more.
wait to get my mom a
Listen,
copy. She's gonna go ape over this
Oh.
book.
honestly,
Yeah.
honestly, I think this is the kind of book that we need right now as the world is falling apart. I need people to be revengey and murdery. Like that's just kind of how I what I need right now. So go pick up several copies so that we can get more. Please and thank you.
Yes.
Thank
Oh,
you,
thank you so much.
Andy, so much for being here.
Thank
This
you
has
for
been
being
so
with
much
us.
fun. I can't
Yeah.
wait.
It's been
I
a
can't wait for the
blast.
next. I can't wait for everybody
Thank
to start
you.
reading this book. Please, if
I
you're
can't wait
reading
to
it,
finish it.
please, like DM me all of your theories. I want to hear how, like, if anybody had the same ideas that I did because
Hey,
it's
you
so
guys
much fun.
DM me too, because I want to know what your theories are too.
Oh, I can
That's
do
my
that.
that's my
Yeah.
favorite thing is when people have live texted as they're reading
Ugh.
and it's
I
yes, so
had
please always feel free,
I had
anyone.
every intention of doing that, but I didn't want to stop. Like, I was like so
That's fair.
entranced. I was like, I can't even stop to send a text. Like, I can't. I
Yeah.
just need to find out what happens. But yes, that sounds like so much fun. I wish I had done that, but it's okay. Maybe the next one. Maybe the next one.
Next one. There you go. But
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
This has been
Andy.
so
We'll
much
talk
fun.
to you
We'll talk
next
soon.
thank
year.
you. Thank you both. Yes. I'll talk to y'all next year.
All right. Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Why do we keep having such pretty girls on the podcast?
Oh, she's so beautiful. My
So
God.
pretty and so nice.
So nice, so funny. Such good writers. Like, ugh.
I know. I can't wait
We're
to finish. I gotta go.
it's
Bye.
so good. So good. I'm about to hop on Libro and like pre-order the audiobook because my God. I don't want
Yeah.
I don't know if Libby is gonna have any. I need to just own it. I need to just have it.
Yeah. I
Because
just want my own copy forever.
I just want it. I'm
Give
really
it.
not just like blowing smoke, y'all. I cannot stop thinking about this book. I am so obsessed. Literally everywhere I go, I'm like, do you read thrillers? I have a book for you. Like
Hey.
and y'all know, like, we're mostly like fantasy and romance. Like, romance
Yeah.
is my genre. Like, I read mostly romance. This in a chokehold. I am done.
I know, I'm like the fantasy romance reader. My family Like
Hmm.
my grandmother, my mom, my uncle, they are all like Stephen King girlies, thriller girlies. And so like I'm gonna have to buy multiple copies of this like for
Totally.
birthdays or Mother's Day or whatever because they will love it.
I need you to look up the UK version of the book because it's also like it's a different cover, which is already stunning, but there's like end pages and there's like I think there's a hidden it's so pretty. I'm like obsessed with it.
Give me
I
that.
I want all of them. And she's sold like there is multiple translation foreign translation rights. So like it's again
That's
coming out
crazy.
in multiple countries, which is I think the most recent one was Turkey, which is so cool. It's wild. It's wild. I'm so
If
excited.
you, I haven't finished, so I can't say that they're the same, but I don't read a lot of thrillers. So take this as you, have you read The Silent Patient yet?
Not yet. I
Karen.
need to. I know.
Woo!
I know.
Woo!
It's on my list. It is.
I know. I was just saying, like, because
Yeah.
I don't hear you often talk about thrillers,
You
but
know
if you
what's funny?
enjoyed this,
Yeah. It's funny because like thrillers are actually like one of the genres that I really do enjoy quite a bit. I just read a lot more fantasy and romance,
yeah.
but I love thrillers. Like
Yeah, you would love.
I love
Excuse
thrillers.
me.
I there are a couple like YA thriller authors that I really enjoy and I can't I just yeah, I really do love thrillers. I just don't talk about them as much because I
Yeah.
don't read them as much, but I might
Now
just
that you're back in
I know.
office,
I
get you an
know.
audiobook of The Silent
Silent
Patient.
Patient.
Don't do The Silent Patient before you do The Fury. The Fury?
Yes.
The
Yeah.
Fury.
I remember you mentioning that.
Because I spoiled it for myself. And
Yeah.
even though there's standalones, there's
There's something.
there's enough crossover that it spoils The Silent Patient for you.
Oh no.
I told my mom after I'd read The Furies that I was going to start
The
The
silent
Silent
patient.
Patient, and she was like,
Oh no.
"Oh no."
Oh baby.
Yeah, she was like, "I hoped you were going to read this. I should have told you to read The Silent
Oh.
Patient first."
Whoops. Well, it
I
is
was
what
like,
it is.
"Mother, I got an arc of it, and I was trying to read through quickly so I could share it with you.
Yeah, that's
Let you
true.
read
I
it."
remember that. I remember that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was doing this for you.
Oh man. But no, truly, y'all,
Go
go
get it.
go get it.
Look
It's
at how
so good.
beautiful that is.
It's so beautiful. I'm obsessed with
There's a
it.
little knife
It's
in the seal.
it it's like a cleaver. It's so
Yeah.
good. It's so good.
There's a crow. There's the
I
house.
can't stop thinking about this
It looks like
book.
it's on fire.
I cannot stop it. Oh, it does kind of look like it's on fire. I was like, I didn't notice that. It's
Hmm.
not, but it looks like it could
It
be.
looks like it.
Anyways,
Yeah.
go pick up a copy. You are fatally
Do
invited.
it.
It is out now. It is excellent. I will not stop talking about this book. This might be
Ooh,
a
the book of the
contender. A
year.
contender for like it's February, okay? This
Yeah.
might be one of the best books that I will read this year.
I mean,
I'm
when you
nothing.
know, you know.
Yeah.
Like my first fictional boyfriend of the week is gonna be my number one fictional boyfriend this year. Like I already knew it.
Yeah.
Nobody like I was gonna read Zayden this year. I knew it, but
Mm,
sorry, Zayden. You're
sorry.
not Aaron. Keep calling her love. You ripped that from
Oh man. Yeah. Time for some announcements.
Yes, let's
Get
announce.
let me get this my Kindle turned off.
Oh,
Okay, so I forgot to mention this last week and it's too late this week because this episode is coming out afterwards, but I'm doing an event with Dom in person.
yay!
And if you follow me on social media, you know that
Yeah.
I am doing my first like in-person moderator event, which is very exciting and low-key terrifying, and I'm glad it's with Dom because at least it's somebody that I already know and am comfortable with.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he was so sweet. He like emailed me and he's like, "Hey, I know this is like last minute, but would you want to do this? Also, I know it's like cuz it's in Oakland." And he's like, "I know it's a bit of a drive for you, so like I'll pay your gas, we can have dinner beforehand, blah blah all of this." And I was like, "Sir."
Oh.
He's like trying to like convince convince me, right? And I'm like, "You could have just asked." Like I
Yeah,
would
I
have
would have
just
done it for
I would have
nothing.
just done it. Like I
Yeah.
say less. Like literally say less. I would
Yeah.
have been there for you. For you, I would have
Yeah.
just been there.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'm really excited to get to do that. And my daughter's really excited because she's constantly asking, like, can we go hang out with Dom? So
Oh.
that'll be fun. So next week when we record, I will immediately log off and then leave.
We're gonna talk so fast next week. You guys aren't gonna
So
know what hit you.
I so I won't be able to tell you about the event until the following week because we're recording
Timey
immediately
wimey.
before. But so future stuff. So that's happening. But for next week, we do have a special guest, and it is Katie Naiman, author of You Between the Lines. I am so excited. The first moment that I heard about this book, I was like, we're best friends now. Sorry, I like
Yeah.
slid directly into her DMs. I'm like, you don't know me, but we're about to become best friends. And that's how this happened. Literally,
Well, on the back it says the gold standard for book boyfriends, and that's from Jessica Joyce.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. We call
say
him,
less.
his name is Will. It's Will Langford, right? We call him Will Yum, like Will Yum,
Yum.
because yum. So
He's
I'm
maddeningly attractive.
so excited. So excited. That's next week. So stay tuned.
Yes.
Yay. Oh, and also, hold on. I just remembered. I also have another Instagram live coming up on March 21st with Julie Tew for her next book, The Girl Most Likely To, which I'm very excited about. I never, ever, ever want to attend any sort of high school reunion, but I
Oh no.
love reading about them. Like,
You could not pay me
romances
to
set,
go
like,
to a high school
or
reunion.
having anything to do, like, around a high school reunion, kind
Yeah,
of
you're like, I'll read
adorable.
that. Yeah.
I
I
would
don't want to be
never.
in it.
I would never. But so that will be on Instagram on the 21st at 10 a.m. Pacific, I think it is. I don't know.
March, right? March 21st.
No, February 21st.
All right, you said March.
Did I?
I think you did. I thought you said it's coming in March.
No, I think
You'll
I
know
said,
when you're editing. You'll be like,
I'll
I
know.
did say March. Dang it.
We'll see. We'll
February
see.
21st.
February 21st. It's a Friday at like 10 a.m. Pacific because we need to do it when her kids are in school.
Hey,
Which
I
makes
don't
sense,
blame her.
right? So yeah,
That
that's
is so
that's what's going
exciting.
on.
I'm proud of you.
Thanks. I'm trying to. I'm. I was joking with somebody. I think it was probably forever. I was emailing them like because I need to do lots of work, even though Mandy needs a break.
Yes, that is
I'm like,
true. She
Mandy,
works like through the summer and the Christmas and all of
yeah.
it. And I'm
I
like,
was like,
hello.
Mandy needs to take a break, but I apparently hate myself and refuse to do that. So that's where we're at.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's it, right?
I think so. I mean, I have the book club with
In
Brienne
March.
Randall in
Yay.
March. So if you want to be added to talk about spells, strings, and forgotten things, DM me and I can get you an invite link.
Yay.
This is very exciting.
So exciting. I just had another author friend of mine send me a message and they're like, and she's local to me, like we're friends like in person. And she's like, hey, the event, she's doing like an event, a book launch. And she's like, hey, they said that we could do like a moderated conversation. And I was like, me? She's like, do you want, I'm like, really? Me?
Yeah.
So I might have another one coming up soon too.
That is so exciting.
Yay, look at things. Things are happening for us. We're killing
Yes,
it.
they are.
Go us. All right. I think it's time for a
Just do
spiel.
Yeah, just do a little spiel.
All right, friends. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, follow, and subscribe wherever you're listening to us. You can follow us on social media. We are at The Incoherent Fangirl on all the things. You can also visit our website, theincoherentfangirl.com, where you can also stream all of our episodes as well as read our blog. Subscribe to our Patreon for early access to podcast episodes, full video episodes, and some bonus content. Possibly more coming soon, depending on what Printify decides to do. So fingers crossed there. But in the meantime, you can also get some merch by heading over to theincoherentfangirl.com/shop. Oh, I love that shirt. It's so cute.
And I matched my nails to it.
Look at you go. The tiny things that we need to do in order to be happy right now.
I didn't even do it on purpose. I just painted my nails last night and this shirt was on top when I started to work out. So
Love it. Love it. So head over and get some cute merch. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, suggestions, design ideas, you want to tell us that we're pretty, we will accept
We'll
all of
accept
that.
it. We'll take it.
We would happily accept all of that. Send that to our inbox, theincoherentfangirl@gmail.com. You know we love hearing from y'all.
Always.
And of course, one last way to support the podcast is to rate and review on whatever platform you're listening to us on. Again, we love hearing from y'all, so give us your words, please.
We love your words.
Many,
We're
many
words
words.
girls.
Heck yes. And she is at Mandy Perv on all the things.
She's at Ms. Made in China on all the things.
And once you followed us on social media and you followed the podcast on social media, you can head on over and do some self-care because we believe in self-care and it's much
Always.
needed. Much
Always.
needed
Especially now.
right now.
Especially now.
So let's go do some shopping. First
Go
off, you're
shop
gonna
at
go to
Besties.
herecomesthenerd.com, add some cute pins and artsy goodies to your cart, and use code Fangirl to get 20% off your first order.
Then once you've got all of those goodies, you're gonna head to onceuponabookclub.com. You're gonna get yourself or someone you like a Once Upon a Book Club subscription. You can buy some things from their shop. We have 2 codes for you to use. It doesn't matter which one you use. We love you either way. They do not stack. So you're going to use either code Karin10 or Mandy10 for 10% off. But you make sure you spell Karin right, or if not, you're going to go on a writer's retreat and we can't guarantee your safety.
Not
So
at all. Sorry.
use the right spelling when you use Karen's code.
And then you're going to head over and visit our friend Amber D. Lewis at her website, amberdlewis.com. Add 10 of everything to your cart. Then use code Fangirl10 to get 10% off the 10 of everything. And you have now officially gotten one of everything for free.
You did it.
Pretty confident that math
It's
correctly.
mathematical.
Yeah, that's how math works.
I mean, we promise. And last but not least, you're going to go head over to support the show husband. So you're going to follow at Searchers Believe, at the Paranormal Mind, and at Stream Beacon TV on all the things. Searchers is his paranormal investigation group. You can go to searchersbelieve.com/shop and use code Fangirl10. It will get you 10% off of merch there, designed by yours truly. The Paranormal Mind is his podcast that is on hiatus, but they're like scheduling now to try and revive it and bring it back now that it's not quite so chaotic for them. And then Beacon TV is our new streaming service where we are bringing all of the new and best paranormal horror and true crime.
You see how I was looking away from you so that you wouldn't stop? I was like, don't make eye contact.
So yeah, they're reviving the casts of some shows that have been canceled that were pretty well liked, and creating some new shows. So yeah, you want to keep an eye on Stream Beacon TV. And if you'd like to subscribe, you can go to streambeacontv.com and use code Fangirl10 and that'll get you 10% off.
Yay.
You can support the show husband.
Yes, exactly. And I believe that is
seems
the
like the Incoherent Fangirl.
Thanks
Thank
for listening.
you.
We love you.
We love you.
Bye.
Bye.
We are sponsored by our friends at Here Comes the Nerd. Pins, stickers, magnets, and more. Here Comes the Nerd has happy art for all fandom-loving hearts. New customers can use coupon code FANGIRL during checkout for 20% off their first order at herecomesthenerd.com. Coupon applies to ready-to-ship items only.